Hello everyone and welcome to Midlife Crisis, the show where I talk about every major DC crossover event in chronological order. My name is Kay and this week we are continuing our deep dive into Forever Evil with the mini-series Forever Evil Rogues Rebellion. It is the first of 3 mini-series that we are going to be covering over the next few weeks. This series covers what the Rogues are doing during Forever Evil, especially once Captain Cold was separated from them during the main book. It's written by Brian Buccellato with art by Scott Hepburn and Patrick Zerka. This is one of the miniseries I have been looking forward to covering on the channel because I've been reading The Flash, I've been making videos about it, including the new 52 Flash, which is what this series is directly tied to. And during Forever Evil, there were a couple of inconsistencies with the main Flash book that pissed me off a bit, and I'm hoping that this miniseries is able to deal with those inconsistencies and give some explanations as to why Golden Glider isn't in Forever Evil, even though she is the leader of the Rogues at the moment, or at least she's supposed to be, and also why Captain Cold was with them, like why they were okay with him being a member of the team, when in the Flash book, the last time we saw them together, they were like, no, you're not a rogue anymore, we hate you. Honestly, I'm not really expecting an explanation for that one. I think it's just too complicated to explain, because that was just an example of Jeff Johns completely ignoring it, but the Golden Glider one, I really hope that gets an explanation. So, without further ado, let's just get straight into this miniseries. Okay, so Brian does his best with what Jeff Johns gave him going into Forever Evil, because in that book, it starts off with, oh, Captain Cold is a member of the Rogues, Golden Glider is nowhere to be seen, and so Brian has to kind of piece that together by doing flashbacks explaining all of this. Now, we never get any real explanation as to why the Rogues are suddenly more chill, or at least chill enough with Snot to allow him to accompany them on their crimes, but they do. No explanation, they just do, because that's where this story begins. It begins back before Forever Evil started, where the Rogues are committing crimes, they are robbing a bank, and Snot is with them. And Golden Glider is still the leader of the team. They are trying to dig up a hole big enough to fit a mirror through the bottom of the bank so that Sam can grab all the money and draw it into the mirror world, because he's stuck in the mirror world, thanks to what Captain Cold did to all the Rogues by giving them powers. Unfortunately, digging a hole underneath the bank might cause the entire building to fall. They're not 100% sure. Mick Rory wants to risk it, but Cold is like, we can't risk it, there's too many people in this building. And Rory's like, yeah, but what about the money? And Golden Glider is like, that's enough, Rory. We don't kill people. So that's it. We're leaving. They head to a local bar where Cold, Heatwave, and Weather Wizard all drink together. Golden Glider and Mirror Master can't drink anything because Mirror Master is stuck in the mirror world, and Golden Glider is like a ghost form because her real body is in a coma. Snot apologizes to her and is like, sorry sis, I guess the 3 of us will have to drink for the 2 of you, we'll leave you alone to wallow in your sorrows with each other. And Snot asks Glider if she can get the other Rogues and put them in the mirror world because they've drunk themselves silly. And she's like, nah, do it yourselves. It's not right that you guys get to drink yourselves, stupid, and Sam can't even leave the mirror world. Come on, you don't think it kills me that I got Sam trapped in there forever? How many times do I gotta say sorry? I don't need your apologies, I need to do something. That's why I've decided to use my astral projection powers to pull Sam out of the mirror world. That's crazy, you can't risk it. Your hat can't take any real stress. It's not worth it. It's worth it to me. Gee, sis, it's not just about you. Your actions directly affect all of us. You're the leader. You can't do it. He has a point, babe. I can't let you risk your life for me. If you want to run this team the right way, you gotta think about the rogues first. I am. We're supposed to be there for each other, no matter what. If there's a chance that I can free Sam, I gotta try. You're reacting emotionally. Stop being selfish and use your damn head. That's funny coming from you. What's that supposed to mean? Ask Mick or Sam or Marco what that means. Hell, go to Iron Heights and ask Axel Walker. So yeah, the relationship between Leonard and Lisa is still falling apart, and Lisa is fixed on going ahead with this plan to free Sam from the mirror world, so she heads to the hospital where her body is in a coma, and she decides to use her powers to pull Sam out of the mirror world despite the risks. And when she does, she disappears, and then her heart in her coma self begins to flatline. That's right, we are sidelining Golden Glider. This is so shit. I hated this the moment I read this. We have all this set up for her to be the leader of the rogues. She's really good in the Flash book. Her powers are really interesting. She's an interesting villain, and now she is gone. And she is being used as a plot device to tear the rogues apart. Because obviously, Leonard hears about this, and is like, what are you doing? This is all your fault. I told you something bad was going to happen. I told her not to do this. That's it. The rogues are done. We're splitting up. And so Snart goes off on his own. He gets drunk. He decides to rob a bank all by himself. The cops show up and he's like, oh, this is the worst day for you to be on the job. He starts attacking the cops with his ice fists, and the rest of the rogues are like, what are you doing? You're so stupid. Why are you trying to rob a bank drunk? So they all help each other, and this is what kind of reunites the team. Because they're like, despite all the things that you did to us, you're a rogue, you're family, and we have no choice but to forgive you. Because you've been a part of our lives for so long. So they just have this little lovely moment where it's like, oh yeah, we're all friends again. Screw Lisa. You know, she had to be thrown under the bus just for this to happen. You know, it's not fridging because she wasn't killed off, but it's basically the same thing, because now she's in a vegetative state. It's after this that we basically retread scenes that we've already seen in the main Forever Evil series, which is the rogues freeing the trickster from prison just as Johnny Quick breaks into the prison. We then see the rogues being recruited by the crime syndicate and invited to help them. They are sent to Central City, where they see that Central City has been destroyed by someone, and they're like, what the hell? Who did this? If something happened to my sister, God help whoever is responsible. After arriving in Central City, the rogues discover Gerda, who has had the shit beat out of him. He is not dead, but he's on the verge of death. This was thanks to Gorilla Grodd, who we saw in that one Flash tie-in where Grodd took over Central City and grabbed all the police and chained them up, and all of his gorillas that rebelled against him and chained them up as well. And then he got bored of being the ruler of Central City and left. So the rogues are finding the aftermath of this, including all of the cops who are tied to trees. And because the rogues are decent fellas, they decide that they are going to free the cops and not kill them because they don't kill people. But the cops are kind of antagonistic towards them. They do explain to the rogues what happened with Grodd. They don't know where Grodd went, but Cold wants to know if the hospital is okay. Like, if Grodd hasn't gone to attack the hospital. Because that's where his sister is. Now, this is no knock on the artist, but the Trickster's hairstyle in this is so funny. He looks like a troll. Like, look at that. He's got that troll hairstyle going on. Also, everybody's just bullying him because he doesn't want to help the cops. Cole just shoves him over and he's like, oh, hey. That's when Detective Singh picks up his gun and points it at the rogues, and even though Daryl Fry tells him to lower his gun, Singh is like, no, I'm not going to. These are criminals. Why are we going to help criminals? And Heatwave just says, hey, you, put down that gun, or before you even have a chance to fire it, I will melt it and you. And Singh drops the gun. He's like, oh shit, I don't want to get melted. Cold is then like, alright, now about that hospital. So they head over to the hospital, they kick in the door, they find Lisa. This is where the art just drastically changes. It's so jarring. I'm guessing they had two artists working on this book at the same time to get the book out faster. Maybe they just had too many books that they were writing and doing art for at the time, so they had to hire more people to work on multiple books to get them out quicker. They could have hired somebody whose art was closer to the other artist so that it wasn't so jarring. Cold tells Mirror Master to stay with Lisa because a bunch of Firestorm villains suddenly appear at the hospital. We got Typhoon, Multiplex, Hyena, Black Bison, and Plastique. So obviously he has to protect Lisa while the rest of the rogues confront the Firestorm villains, and they say that they have been sent by the Syndicate to destroy Central City, starting with the hospital. And Cold is like, well, if that's the case, that ain't gonna happen, because my sister is here. And so he fights back against Black Bison. Heatwave fights against Plastique, which is just a really bad matchup because Plastique throws explosives and Heatwave can just use the fire from them against her. And that's the same case with the Weather Wizard fighting Typhoon. As soon as he finds out that he's a Typhoon, he's like, well, I can control the weather, dipshit, and starts controlling Typhoon. Hyena fights against Trickster, and Trickster just drops a Trickster bomb in his mouth. It explodes, and somehow this doesn't really do anything to Hyena. I guess he's got huge durability or something, because he just bites Trickster's arm while Mirror Master is watching all of this happen. He really wants to join in on the fight, but he can't because he needs to protect Lisa. Cold continues to fight Black Bison and knocks him down, but that is when he is attacked by Multiplex, who can transform into a bunch of clones, and they just start kicking the shit out of Cold, and he is going to die, but Mirror Master appears, grabs him, shoves them into his mirror world, and Multiplex is like, oh, my clones, what did you do to them? Cold grabs him by the throat, chokes him out, and then is like, whoa, Sam, what are you doing? You're supposed to be where Lisa is. And Sam's like, hey, what are you complaining about? I saved your life. He's like, what about Lisa, though? She might be in trouble. And then they hear a massive explosion, and that is when Deathstorm and Power Ring arrive. And they say that the rogues have defied the Syndicate, and the penalty is death, because they were sent here to destroy Central City, and they are not doing that. Instead, they are stopping other villains from destroying it. Now, we've seen this play out in the main book a little bit, but I'm interested to see how it plays out here. I'm sure we'll see more of the fight between the rogues and the Syndicate than we got in the main Forever Evil book. So for now, things play out basically the way that they did in Forever Evil, where Power Ring and Deathstorm show up, and Power Ring starts to get up in his own head, and is like, oh, the rogues are threatening us, I'm gonna kill all of them, and so he attacks them even though Deathstorm doesn't want him to, and that prompts the rogues to start attacking them back, so Trickster starts throwing his bombs at Deathstorm, while Cold starts shooting at Power Ring, and Weather Wizard and Heatwave fight Deathstorm together as well, but Heatwave gets sent flying by Deathstorm, and Trickster just runs up to him and tries to punch him. He's like, eat metal fist, Skeletor, and he just gets backhanded by Deathstorm. He just goes, ugh, just gets sent flying. Like, what are you doing, Trickster? You, out of all these guys, are the most normal one. You have no metahuman powers whatsoever. And yet you're trying to fight a guy who has the ability to split atoms. Obviously, getting his shit rocked really pisses off Heatwave because he has anger issues, and so Mirror Master has to calm him down while Cold decides to face the Syndicate. However, he gets immediately taken down by Deathstorm, and then he gets the DNA of the Cold gun that was fused with his body ripped out of his body, just like in the main Forever Evil book, which takes away his metahuman abilities. So now, Captain Cold no longer has ice powers, and Mirror Master is like, okay, let's get the hell out of here, straight into the mirror world. And as they jump into the mirror, Power Ring shoots at the mirror, destroying it, which splits the rogues apart. Most of them get sent to this skyscraper. Mirror Master lands inside of it. but the others are hanging on to it, and they're like, whoa, bro, you gotta help us, we're gonna fall. So Mirror Master helps them get up, or at least it's just Heatwave and Trickster. Turns out Weather Wizard landed on top of the building by his cape. Cold got sent somewhere else. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's just because of Power Rings construct destroying the mirror. And so until he reunites with the Rogues, he tells Mirror Master that he's going to have to lead them. And Mirror Master's like, I can't even control my powers properly right now. Power Ring did something to them. And Cold is like, I don't care. You're the leader now. Anyway, is there anything around me? Are there any crime syndicate members around me right now? Am I safe? And Mirror Master says, no, there aren't any crime syndicate members around you. However, there is a guy that looks like Superman walking next to someone that looks like Lex Luthor. So this is explaining how Snart found those two and teamed up with them in the main book. It's at this moment that the Rogues are attacked by somebody calling themselves the Archer. This isn't Roy Harper, I don't think. It's just some villain calling himself the Archer, and he says that he's going to capture the Rogues because they are his golden ticket, and Trickster just knocks him out with a flying robot fist. He just punches him in the face with it. I'm like, okay, Trickster, you got some tricks up your sleeves. And they're like, what the hell was he talking about with the golden ticket? And that is when Parasite shows up, and he's like, we got this coin given to us by the Syndicate because they put a bounty on your heads. So all us villains are going to be coming after you, trying to kill you to get your bounty. He explains to them that he is the parasite he always wants to feed, and that he is going to feed on them. Trickster tries to attack him, and again, he just gets backhanded. This is just a running joke, I guess, where Trickster just gets his shit rocked immediately. He flies towards a mirror where Mirror Master is able to grab him and pull him into the mirror world to safety. Heatwave gets thrown away by Parasite, and Weather Wizard thinks that he can take down Parasite by feeding him too much energy, so he shoots him with lightning, but it doesn't do anything. Instead, it just makes him more powerful. And he's like, hey guys, Sam! And so Sam starts getting everybody into the mirror world. Weather Wizard just gets into the mirror as Parasite smashes it, so they get away to safety. He's like, oh, what the hell? Where'd they go? The Rogues teleport out of another reflection, which seems to be a building covered in ice. They land in a foresty area where they are tangled up in vines, and they come face to face with Poison Ivy, who welcomes them to Gotham. That's right, the Rogues have landed in Gotham, and now they are at the hands of Gotham's villains, who have all taken over Gotham City. Despite the fridging of Golden Glider really pissing me off, I am starting to get more into this series now that we've taken a detour from the stuff that we've already seen in Forever Evil. We're starting to get into some new stuff now that the Rogues have split up from Captain Cold. While the first two issues were mainly just retreads of stuff that we'd already seen, or kind of filler stuff surrounded things that we'd already seen. So the Rogues have been captured by Poison Ivy, and the first thing you would think is, hey, why don't they use their powers to get out of her control? At least they explain that Heatwave can't use his powers, because if he does, they are surrounded by plants and he could end up burning the whole place down. But they don't really bother to explain why Weather Wizard can't use his powers against Poison Ivy. He does threaten to strike her with lightning, but that's already after she poisons the Trickster, who has fallen for her womanly charm. She kisses him, poisons him, and then after that, he's like, you better cure him, or I will strike lightning down on you. And it's like, why didn't you do that from the very start? Why didn't he just strike her with a lightning bolt? He can do that. No, the reason he didn't is because we need a plot. We need a reason for Poison Ivy to have leverage over them. So we need the Trickster to be poisoned so that the Rogues will listen to what she wants, which is sunlight. And Mirror Master says that he has an idea on how to get sunlight for her, because obviously there has been an eclipse thanks to Ultraman. The moon has been moved in front of the sun. So Mirror Master and Heatwave head off in order to find equipment for Mirror Master to use so that he can use mirrors to reflect the sun onto her plants. As they are heading off to find this equipment, they come across a woman who is walking with what looks like 2 kids. Just in the middle of Gotham City after it's been taken over by villains, like, as if this isn't suspicious at all. Mirror Master has no suspicions. He thinks that this is just a woman walking around with her children. The woman gets attacked by a couple of criminals. Turns out this is actually the ventriloquist, and that these kids are her puppets. So they attack these guys and start tasering them. And Mirror Master's just like, ooh, okay, let's go a different way. Meanwhile, Poison Ivy learns from Weather Wizard that his powers control his emotions, and he just won't talk to her, and she's like, what, you don't trust me? It's like, not even a little. No honor among thieves, is that what you believe? The only woman I ever trusted killed my brother. It's not just thieves, there is no such thing as honor. Then why are you with the rogues? She poses this question to him. I'm not sure if this is ever going to lead anywhere in the later issues, but it doesn't go anywhere in this issue, that's for sure. Maybe he'll start to second guess his role in the rogues going forward. Heatwave and Mirror Master arrive at Wayne Tech Fabricators, where we can clearly see that there are man-bats flying around in the sky, and yet somehow they don't notice that. They don't think, oh, maybe this place isn't safe because there's giant fucking man-bat creatures flying right above it. But they head it anyway. They find the stuff that Mirror Master needs, but the ladder that he's on falls over, and it causes a massive noise, and that draws the attention of a whole bunch of man-bats who break into the building. Now, leading up to this, Mirror Master and Heatwave have been arguing over loyalty, and Heatwave believes that loyalty is completely out the window now that the apocalypse has essentially happened, and that nobody would ever do anything for him, so why would he ever do anything for anyone else? The two of them fight against these man-bats. The whole thing with multiple man-bats is kind of confusing to me because I haven't read either Batman titles that are going on during the New 52, so I have no idea why there's like a million man-bats. I know Ra's al Ghul has his own man-bats, so maybe these ones broke out of his control. We saw Kirk Langstrom is also a man-bat, and that he created the man-bat serum. So yeah, I don't know. What came first? Kirk Langstrom man-bat or the other man-bats? Heatwave is able to take down a couple of the man-bats, but one of them attacks him from behind and injures his arm, but Mirror Master comes up behind it, smacks it over the head with a metal pole, sending it flying into a fridge, which he sends the man-bat to the mirror world, and then I'm assuming expels it somewhere random, because he goes into the mirror world later and the man-bat isn't in there. He then helps Heatwave up, and Heatwave's like, oh, you're not gonna leave me? And he's like, of course not, you're a member of the Rogues. And he's like, well, I would have left you. And Mirror Master is like, no, you wouldn't have. Calling is bullshit. Because Mick Rory cares about his friends. We then cut back to Mirror Master and Poison Ivy and the gang, because they've all gotten together, and Mirror Master's like, I got all the equipment that I need. He creates a mirror, he heads into the mirror world, he finds the right reflection, which is a giant satellite, and then he bounces the light off of the mirrors to shine light over the plants, but he starts to get pulled into the mirror world, and Poison Ivy is just letting him get pulled into it. And they're like, what are you doing? You gotta pull him out, otherwise he's gonna get stuck in there. He's like, no, I haven't gotten what I wanted yet. I need more sunlight for my plants. And Trickster tries to go in and save Mirror Master, which he successfully does. And they're like, what the hell was that? You almost let him die in there. And they're like, because I didn't get enough sunlight for my plants. And then the man-bats come in and start attacking the Rogues. And that's when Heatwave decides that he's just going to burn everything. Weather Wizard gets grabbed by a man-bat, so Trickster goes after it, but the man-bat just smacks him in the face and ends up smacking straight into a wall of ice. And the Rogues are like, whoa, a wall of ice? Does that mean cold's here? No, it's not cold. It's Mr. Freeze. And he says one of the worst lines, I am quite more than cold. Like, what is that? That's a terrible one-liner. You should have thought it through a little bit more, Cole. Like, Clayface is in the back like, really? That's the one-liner you're going with? We cut to Atlantic City where we find out that the Royal Flush Gang is trying to find the rogues so that they can get the bounty on their heads. Now, I've never been a fan of the Royal Flush Gang. They're just kind of a whatever group of supervillains, but they at least had designs that were fun, where each of them were designed after the house that they were supposed to be. Like, there was King, Queen, Jack. They still have those names, but they are missing the unique designs in New 52. They all just look like knockoff Jason Voorhees. Like, one of them is literally just shirtless with a Jason Voorhees mask on, like with a hockey mask on, and he's supposed to be king. Like, this is supposed to be king, and yet he just has a spade on his chest and an A. There's no crown on his design whatsoever, and that's the case with all the other members as well. I don't even know who's supposed to be who. I'm assuming the blonde one might be Queen. I don't know. She doesn't have a Queen symbol on her anywhere. Just feels like lazy, boring character design. Like, this is what they look like in the Arrowverse. They find out from someone that they have an idea on where the rogues are going. We, the reader, know that they are in Gotham City. They're currently dealing with Clayface and Mr. Freeze. Weather Wizard is out of commission right now. Mr. Freeze wants Weather Wizard to wake up and wants his help so that he can freeze over Gotham and make it his wasteland. And the rogues are obviously pretty hesitant to help him, especially Heatwave, who decides, he's like, nah, fuck this, I'm just gonna kill you. And so he blasts his fire, barely missing the two of them. Mirror Master grabs Weather Wizard and takes him away, and Clayface tries to transform into Weather Wizard because he's like, oh, we don't need him. If I can transform into him, I can use his powers. But Mirror Master has created mirror copies of Weather Wizard, so it's not going to be easy for Clayface to find the real one. Meanwhile, Freeze is just trying to shoot Heatwave with ice as if that's going to do anything. Like, this guy generates fire. Freezing him is going to do nothing. He will just melt his way out of it. You're supposed to be a scientist. Meanwhile, the Trickster finds himself in the Gotham Police impound after being knocked flat by one of those man-bats in the last issue, and he's just a joke in this. Like, he literally falls off the thing that he's standing on and hits his head, and then he meets a guy, just a mysterious guy wearing a hoodie. He's like, hey, my name's Vic. I can help you. I have this truck over here. It's run down though, so you're gonna have to help me fix it. And Trickster's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you fix it. And the guy comes up to him with a knife and is gonna kill him because it's actually Victor Saz. And Trickster knew that it was him, and he blasts the guy away with his jet boots, which could have killed him because Victor Saz is just a regular guy. And Trickster says, oh yeah, I knew who you were because of your famous scars. Everybody knows what your scars are. It's a dead giveaway. Get it? Dead giveaway? He also mentions Tumblr here. Tumblr is canon in the DC universe. Twitter isn't. They gave it a different name. It's called, what, Chirper? But no, apparently Tumblr is just called Tumblr. Clayface transforms into a bull, because apparently he can do that, and he just tramples over Heatwave, sticking him to the floor, and Freeze is like, hey, you better come out now with Weather Wizard, or I will kill Heatwave. And so Mirror Master gives himself up, and Mr. Freeze freezes him. He's like, alright, give me Weather Wizard. And Weather Wizard wakes up, he's like, you want me? You got me. As Heatwave frees Mirror Master, he's like, why the hell did you help me? Mirror Master says, well, Cold would have done that. And Heatwave is like, well, if you think that, then you don't know him very well. And Mr. Freeze and Clayface prepare to fight Weather Wizard. And Weather Wizard is like, it's 3 against 2, except it's not, because Black Mask has shown up with his gang. And they are on Mr. Freeze's side. So it's Black Mask's gang versus the Rogues. And for some reason, the Rogues struggle in this. I don't know why. They're metahumans. They shouldn't be struggling, especially with Weather Wizard and Heatwave on their side. Black Mask's gang are just regular guys, and yet they are just overwhelming them to the point where Trickster has to come in and save them in his van. Like, man, the plot armor that Black Mask gang has in this. If he wanted to, Weather Wizard could literally just call in a tornado and sweep them up and then throw them away. but he doesn't even think of doing that. Bro has the power over the weather itself. He can conjure it without anything. He doesn't need a weather wand or anything. He can do whatever he wants. He can strike lightning. He can create hailstorms. He can create typhoons. And all he has to deal with as a repercussion is that it affects his emotions. The gang gets into the van, but they are held back by Black Mask's gang, so they have to fight against them to try and get the van free, and Heatwave sacrifices himself. He's like, you did all that stuff for me before, and now I'm gonna do it for you. And he runs into the Black Mask gang. He's like, burn, baby, burn! And they drive away. They're like, no, Mick's in trouble. We gotta go back and get him. And they're like, no, we can't. Alright? He did this so that we could get away. So they start driving away. They get to a bridge, which is broken. And Trickster is like, hey, I got a plan that's gonna help us get over this bridge. He uses his rocket boots to propel the van across the gap, but they're not gonna make it all the way. And that's when Trickster reveals that he has created a sail for the van, which he pushes up through the roof of the van. Weather Wizard uses his wind powers to push the van over the gap, and they're able to just continue driving. Like, see? He just conjures wind whenever he wants to. Enough wind to move a van. Like, he could have just blown away the Black Mask gang if he wanted to. Just create wind and they'd just be like, ah! And, like, they couldn't do anything. Unfortunately for them, it's not over because the Royal Flash gang arrives just in time. They figured out that they were in Gotham City, and somehow they found out about Lisa Snart. They don't really explain that. I guess they just used leverage of information and stuff from other criminals to find out about her. We're just gonna have to assume a lot. There's no actual explanation. I don't like it when plots are just like, they just did it off panel. Like, we're supposed to just assume that they know Captain Cold's identity and that he has a sister and that she's in hospital and she's in a coma? Okay. The Rogues give themselves over to the Royal Flush gang, who plan on handing them over to the Syndicate, and Trickster is like, why the hell are we handing ourselves over to these chumps? And Mirror Master is like, yeah, because we have to, otherwise Lisa might die. And for some reason, Trickster looks like an old man in a couple of these panels, the way he's drawn. Trickster gets punched in the face by one of the Royal Flush gang members. He's like, giving up sucks. You think lying down for them is gonna save Glider? You think Lisa would want us all to die? And then Weather Wizard is like, I've had enough of sitting around. I'm out of patience. And he strikes the van with his lightning, causing it to crash. They all are like tumbling around inside. Trickster kicks the Royal Flash gang member that punched him in the face, breaking his mask. And as they crash the van, Mirror Master gets so pissed at Weather Wizard, he's like, what the hell did you do? Lisa is gonna be dead because of you! And starts beating him up. Trickster tries to stop him. He grabs Mirror Master by the hand. He's like, that's enough, man. Get off of me. And then Weather Wizard grabs a rock and smashes it over Mirror Master's head. You killed her. Lenny killed us all when he said no to the Syndicate. Come on, guys, we're the Rogues. We're a team. Heatwave is dead, Glider's in a coma, and who knows if Cold is alive. The Rogues are finished, Axel, and I'm not going down with the ship. We're better off on our own. And Weather Wizard leaves. So now only Mirror Master and Trickster are left on the Rogues. And he's like, what the hell are we gonna do now? So Mirror Master comes up with a plan. He creates a bunch of copies of the Rogues and sends them to the Royal Flash Gang's base to turn in their lives in return for gliders. But the king isn't as stupid as they think. He sees through this immediately and starts shooting at them. Also, yeah, the spade on his chest just perfectly covers up his nipples. No nips for the viewers, unfortunately. So Mirror Master's like, oh damn, they saw through our ploy? Okay. Plan 2. They drive in the van with a mirror on the front of it, and he starts using the mirror to suck the Royal Flush Gang members into the mirror. I don't know how many members of them there are. I thought there was just one for each suit, but no. There's a whole bunch of them. There's like 20 of them. Trickster grabs Lisa and hands her over to the police, and Pied Piper's there just so that he can be there. Maybe he'll show up again in the next issue. Who knows? For now, they have to go back and fight the Royal Flush Gang. The police are there fighting with them, but Pied Piper isn't there. I think he takes Lisa away and keeps her safe. And that is when Johnny Quick and Atomica show up. They're like, we're back in Central City. We're here to wreak havoc. They're also here to pick up the rogues. So Atomica starts beating the shit out of Trickster. Mirror Master tries to fight against Johnny Quick, but Johnny Quick just dodges out of his mirror beam and then smacks him and grabs him and throws him to the side. And then they start saying shit where they're like, oh yeah, in our world, you were policemen and we killed you. We hate police. That's basically what we're saying. And Atomica jumps into the body of one of the policemen and grows to a big enough size that she blows up his head. It's pretty gross. Mirror Master tries to grab his mirror gun and Johnny Quick just kicks him to the side and then attacks Trickster as well. And Mirror Master is like, the thing that you have, it's not love. And they're like, what do you know about love? I would do anything for Lisa. I would die for her. Would you die for each other? And Atomica decides that she's gonna kill Sam first, so she points her gun at him, and that is when the both of them get struck by lightning because Weather Wizard arrives, proving that he is the most OP member of the Rogues. Johnny Quick tries to attack him, but Weather Wizard uses Sub-Zero Winds against him and is like, hey, can you run against this? The only reason Weather Wizard doesn't beat Johnny Quick is because the king decides to shoot Weather Wizard in the head. So we think that he's dead, because we see him get shot in the head. And because of this, Johnny Quick kills the king, because he's like, he was mine! He just runs to him and turns him into a cloud of blood, and he starts running through other members of the Royal Flush Gang, so it's just crazy hectic in here. Mirror Master runs over to Weather Wizard, where it's discovered that the bullet just grazed him, so he's okay. And they're like, oh, finally, we're gonna have a break now. And that is when Grodd shows up alongside a whole bunch of other villains. He's got the Fearsome Five, who are Teen Titans villains. We got Tar Pit. We've got all of the Firestorm villains. We got Parasite. We got that Archer guy. Nobody's really afraid of that guy. And then Amazo is here. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Amazo, which doesn't really make any sense because the last time we saw Amazo, he was in the Red Room. He hadn't even been finished being built yet. I don't know. That seems to be a continuity error. Also, Johnny Quick and Atomica are gone now because the crime syndicate forced them to leave. They teleported them out of there because Ultraman needed to speak to them. Piper is watching over Glider, but he says to himself that he can't continue watching over her. He needs to go and help the Rogues because if they all die, she won't have anyone. And so he thinks it's important that he go and help them. Even though they are criminals, right now, all they're trying to do is fight for this woman that they care about, especially Sam. He's fighting for this woman that he loves, and Piper knows that he would do the same for Sing if Sing was in trouble. So the Rogues are fighting against every villain that they fought up until this point, except for the Royal Flush Gang. Amazo, for some reason, sucks in this. He just gets the shit beat out of him by Grodd. Like, Grodd just backhands him at one point, and there's blood coming out of his nose. Like, he's supposed to be an android, isn't he? And also, what happened to the fact that he's supposed to have all the powers of the Justice League? Is it because he hasn't fought the Justice League yet? Because this is like a weird continuity issue of Amazo has shown up earlier than he was supposed to, because I'm pretty sure Jeff Johns has plans for him in a future story. Weather Wizard starts to get the shit beaten out of him by the multiplex clones, and for some reason he doesn't think to just strike lightning on himself and therefore take them out as well. He's done it before. He doesn't get hurt by his own lightning, but no, he needs to be in this situation so that he can be saved by Pied Piper, who shows up to fight against the villains alongside the Rogues. Mirror Master gets blasted by Black Bison, and then Parasite appears, and Piper decides to fight Parasite. He's like, oh yeah, this guy can absorb energy? Well, try and absorb my energy. And he starts shooting his flute, or his pipe signals at Parasite. Parasite starts absorbing them. Grodd does something funny. He grabs the character named Gizmo and throws him at Trickster, who is flying through the air, just throws him at him, knocks him out. He then gets pissed at Piper for playing his pipe because it's making so much noise. He's like, that noise is pissing me off. Ah! And he goes to attack Piper, and Grodd gets attacked by Parasite because Parasite is under Piper's influence because he absorbed Piper's radio waves. Now, one thing I will mention right here is that, first of all, yeah, Grodd is here. And in the Grodd tie-in, it was like, oh yeah, read Rogue's Rebellion to see what happens to Grodd. And it's like, it's great he shows up in the final issue. But that's also the problem. He doesn't show up until the final issue. I thought Grodd was going to have a much larger role in Rogue's Rebellion than he did, especially because the start of the series talked about him quite a bit and what he was doing, and then he just fucked off for a while and then comes back in the final issue. Like, what was he doing? What was he doing that entire time? Was he just running around, doing whatever? He said he was bored. I thought he was going to be the main villain of this series. I think it would have been a lot better if he was the one that kidnapped Glider, and he was the one that was behind everything. That way you have that big reveal instead of him just randomly showing up with a whole bunch of villains being like, don't you forget, Gorilla Grodd is here, he's in this book now. It's almost like they forgot about him and they were like, oh yeah, we teased that he was going to be in this, so let's quickly put him in at the very end. The rogues are surrounded by all the villains, and they just get their shit kicked in by all of these villains. They just, pile up on them and start kicking them and stuff. Piper is still playing his music. The music makes its way all the way to Glider, to Lisa Snart, who is in a coma. And then she appears in front of the rogues because Piper's music woke her up. That's how sick it is. It can wake you up from a coma. Like, what was he playing? I like to imagine he was playing Queen or something, because he's played that before in other comics. He was just like playing some Queen, going into her ear, woke her up. So whatever her favorite song is. She tells Mirror Master to use his powers to send them away, but he says he can't. And she's like, you gotta stop getting up in your own head, Sam. You know you can do it if you try, and now I'm here to help you because I love you. And so Mirror Master creates a mirror, and then Weather Wizard uses his powers to create a typhoon of wind that pushes all of the villains into the mirror, including Gorilla Grodd, and then, as a last hurrah, Trickster gets to smash the mirror with his rocket fist. He's like, eat my fist! And that mirror just gets fisted by Trickster. And Trickster's like, yeah, that's awesome, we won! I don't know, Axel. Doesn't feel like winning, because Central City has just gone to shit. It's completely destroyed. Are they going to explain how it gets rebuilt? I'm assuming the Flash is just going to show up once Forever Evil ends and fixes it. It would be really great if the Rogues actually helped the Flash fix Central City. That's kind of what I'm hoping happens, because I feel like that would make sense. The Rogues then turn to Piper and they're like, hey man, thanks for helping us. I know you're not one of us, you're not a villain, but you did the right thing, you helped us. We're cool. And Mirror Master and Glider make out, because obviously they do. They've just been reunited after so long. And Piper, or Hartley, reunites with David Singh. So they'd broken up previously, but I guess they're gonna get back together again. And hopefully David can stop being a dirtbag. I mean, he is visually hugging Piper here, so it's assumed that he's finally coming out of the closet, and all of his workmates and stuff are going to find out that he's gay, because he's been hiding it from them. Because he's ashamed of it. The civilians thank the Rogues for saving the city, and Mirror Master's like, it's our city too. What if they come back? Then we'll kick their asses again. Beer's warm. Where's Lenny when you need him? The Rogues all get together, and it's nice to see the Rogues actually, like, being nice to children and stuff. It shows that they're not like your typical criminals. They care about the city that they live in. You know, they just rob banks on the side. They don't kill people, etc. We never wanted to rule the world. Even after all we've been through, the lumps were taken. The price we paid, the crime syndicate could still take their evil plans and shove them. We'll never play ball. We're not killers. We are Weather Wizard, Trickster, Pied Piper, and the love of my life, Glider. We are Heatwave and Captain Cold. We are a team, a badass criminal crew, looking for our piece of the American dream. Lenny, if you're still out there and need our help, just give us a call and we'll come running. We are your family. We are the rogues of Central City. And we got Heatwave and Cold here as Force Ghosts. Cold isn't dead, but as far as we know, Heatwave is. And this is a very lovely message at the end. Unfortunately, I couldn't help but notice a grammatical error here. At the end, it says, it's supposed to say, we are your family, but they accidentally put you are, so it's, we are you are family. I know, I've just completely ruined this final paragraph for people by pointing that out, but, you know, my autistic brain cannot unsee that. Like, I noticed it the moment I saw it. And that is it. That's the end of Rogues Rebellion and the first of the Forever Evil miniseries that we are covering on the channel. Overall, I found the series to be pretty decent. I enjoyed the adventures that the Rogues went through when they came across the gang of villains in Gotham City. I didn't really care much about the Royal Flush Gang stuff and the stuff with Johnny Quick and Atomica. I've already seen enough of Johnny Quick and Atomica in Forever Evil, so when they showed up again, I was like, not these two again. They're definitely my least favorite members of the Forever Evil gang of the crime syndicate. I would definitely have enjoyed this series more had Golden Glider not just been used as a plot device. I would have much preferred an alternate series with a different plot that didn't involve having to toss her to the side and use her as a damsel in distress and basically fridge her. Like, she wasn't fully fridged because they didn't kill her off, but while she was in a coma, it was as close as you could get. At least she's back now, she's out of the coma, and they didn't strip her powers away, because that was another thing I was afraid of. I was like, what happens when she wakes up from the coma? Is she just gonna lose her powers? Because that would suck, because she's cool now. Like, she's got great powers. Like, Golden Glider was always a character I never cared about before the New 52. But as soon as they gave her new powers and stuff, they made her a much more interesting character, and they made her relationship with Leonard even more interesting than it already was. And we'll see what happened to Captain Cold when we get back to the main Forever Evil book, but it's going to be a bit before we do that, because next week we are going to be covering Argus, the second miniseries, which, from what I know, follows Steve Trevor, and I think Wonder Woman shows up in that book as well, and maybe even Cheetah. So look forward to that next week. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week for Forever Evil Argus. Have a good one.